Her mom, yeah, the dad,
Hey.
What time is Veggie Grill closed? 7. Do they deliver?
Ah, fuck, don't matter.
Yeah. Is everyone else right now? What time is Blaze close? Is it 10?
Oh no! I just saw
You can step on this.
And the boss out campus. Oh.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Wait, Brian, you have forms?
No, he doesn't.
We need one more.
Wait, we done quorum? Yeah, we did. She just stepped out, right?
How many do you need from 10?
10.
I thought we only had 9 weeks ago.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. George. He just came briefly.
You count?
Yes.
Okay, I said it now. I thought you had
We don't count.
They don't count.
No, I'm just a peasant. I just. It's like you're.
Wait.
I love you too. You counted my part.
I get it. No, I get the rest of the rest of that. Yeah, George and Amber's here. Oh, she's so perfect.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, good. We're here. We're good. I call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. Ryan, please send out the sheet. Thank you. So did everybody have a chance to add their officer reports to the 10-2 minutes? Want to do it now? Okay, if y'all want to do it during the day, that's fine, and we can move approving those minutes until later, that's fine. Okay, so we will table the approval of the 10-2 minutes until later in the meeting, once everyone's on their report, this is 2 weeks, or 2 weeks ago. Are there any amendments to tonight's agenda?
If I have a question, like, can I just ask for an officer report? We're gonna have to have as a discussion
What would it be?
about changing bylaws for minorities.
Yeah, you can ask for your officer report, that's fine. Yeah, we can connect offline about that if you want. Cool. Okay, so any amendments to the agenda at all? All right, so for tonight, we have no amendments to the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
George, a second, thank you. Okay, we're gonna move into local roll call beginning with IDP.
Yes.
Democrat 1, yes. Democrat 2, Democrat 3, AC. AC. Yes. CEC. Yes. CSC. Yes. TAP. She said that. FSC.
Yes.
SWC.
Yes.
900, motion passes and the agenda is approved. All right, we'll move into public comment. Are there any members of the public here to make comments? I don't believe so. No? All right, then we'll end public comment at 7:07 p.m. So we will now move into appointments. So our first appointee is John Wisner to the Usac Community Service Mini Fund. Per tradition, I'll go ahead and read the position description again, and ask any questions, and then we will go into Jonathan's hearing. Openings, 5 positions, 1 chairperson, 4 members, 2 of whom must be affiliated with CPO, the other 2 with CSC, which they are, 1-year term. The Community Service Mini Fund Committee is dedicated to providing funds for student community service programs, activities, or services which contribute to the elimination of poverty and social problems, and/or provide services such as health and education
Something's wrong
to
with
underserved
YouTube.
groups. Holds 5 years of active
When I
year
heard
and
this.
is secretary. As a
This is
reminder, we've
already way over my
appointed
head.
Deborah
I can't
Shaw,
even touch administrative council right now.
Ashley Koya, Angela Lee, and Alex Lynn.
I think those are
Any questions about
the
CS
rules.
committee before we
I
move
knew
to
she
here?
shouldn't leave. Ask Deb Miller. Yeah, I think we should.
No?
Dr. Keller. Hey, Deb.
So Jonathan, thank you for being
Usac
here.
is-
Stand wherever is comfortable for you, that's fine.
We should stop.
And
We're not
when you're
broadcasting
ready, you want
Usac
to
Live. Should we
introduce
stop?
yourself?
Hi, my name is Jonathan Wisner. I'm a second year in National Development Studies major with Public Affairs minor.
Oh,
I'm so
sorry. YouTube
I
crashed
currently
again.
serve on the
It's
Science
YouTube.
Committee and Community Service Division. I'm last year I got the opportunity to serve as a fellow. in
How do Google
Community
Hangouts?
Service Where I worked in funding body, so I can have finance experience and drive and CSC background.
Thank you. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties with the Usac Live, hence the running around. But we're gonna figure it out. Okay, any questions for Jonathan?
How would you define service as your experience as a volunteer?
Yeah, so I think service is finding a sustainable and ethical way to use the privilege that you carry to help people that maybe necessarily don't carry the same privilege. So I would say in the experience that I've had, working with in high school, working with different people in the downtown community, working specifically with one homeless shelter, people that at that time don't have the privilege of housing, I do, so I can use my privilege, not only in the sense of housing, but in the sense of my identities, to support people as best as I can.
What is your vision for this position specifically?
Yeah, in this position, I think the CSC fund is a really integral and cool opportunity for service orgs on campus. And I think that without funding, service doesn't happen. So I think my vision for this is just that we can work to get outside of our bubble. I would like to work to get outside of my CSC bubble, and even CPO bubble, to get outside to organizations that maybe aren't necessarily normally in this space, to give everybody this opportunity because we have the access, we have the privilege, we have these funds, and I want to be able
Do you have any concrete ways that you can see CSM being able to achieve what you just said?
Yeah, so I think this year I have a unique opportunity being on CSC staff with a few new positions that we have. So we have the liaison directors that are working with SOL, the Center for Community Learning, and CPO. So my thought is these people on CSC staff are already developing a relationship with those outside groups, those outside organizations. So I think I'd like to sort of piggyback off of that and work with those liaisons that are working with their communities, so they don't have to come in and create a whole new relationship. No, you're so good. That we can work together in that sense to deepen those bonds and outreach in that way through channels that are being created right now.
Possible, and I asked you this in your interview, but what does equity mean to you, and how do you see equity manifest in funding decisions?
Yeah, so I think there's a big difference between equity and equality. Recognizing that that not everybody has had equal opportunity in the past, and so equality in the present is not necessarily a goal to be striving for. So I think in terms of funding decisions, recognizing that what my identities are and what the identities of not only the people that are volunteering, but the service recipients, and what those experiences are and what I don't understand in that sense and what I can learn from those people. So it's in regards to kind of decisions, keeping, I guess, identities and the fact that the past has not always been fair to everyone in mind while trying to be fair to people in the present.
Any other questions for Jonathan? So whenever you're ready, feel free to move your closing statement.
I'd just like to say thank you for your time. You lots of this campus, and I appreciate you carving out a little bit for me today for this opportunity.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I know Robert's dealing with the technical stuff, but are you ready to share ARC, or can I show it?
Yeah, I can go really quick.
Okay.
ARC did 3-0 for approval. Jonathan's great. I know him personally. He's a great person, a great human being. Has devoted all of his time at UCLA to community service and has actually worked with funding bodies in the past as well. He does do a lot of other stuff, but he showed that he's able to balance that. And I don't think he would apply to this position unless he was able to balance it. So that's why I personally voted for approval. The other two people were Jessica and Aisha. So.
Even before you asked the question about it, that's something that I was going to bring up first, because that was something John was talking about, like equity in service and equity in service, and then we've, I think, done like over like 6 to 7 appointments for CSC Mini and the first time for Florida, which was like very refreshing to see. Having said that, the question, something that like Robert Trish was like, because he's an RA and he's in CSC stuff and FSC stuff, that was like one of our concerns, is just like the time management part, but I also, sorry, but one of our only concerns was time management, but he kind of like talked about the flexibility with like his RA schedule and how he can like kind of like have his events when he wants them to perform and conflict with any stuff.
I feel like there's nothing
with YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I tried it on my computer too, the same thing.
I would just go ahead and get the Google.
That's what I already had.
I thought he knew his position really well, and I know we talked about it here, so he would get out to us as like
Yeah,
a
it's already up.
candidate for this appointment, so.
So it's already being like broadcast.
Okay, any other comments, questions, concerns, or is there
Correct.
a motion
So
on the
if I
table?
ended, it's done. You can't look back. So I told David and Brody they're good. So if you are good.
Thank you, is there a second?
I'll just do that.
I
You have to just like alter the thing.
Just thought I should let you know.
IUP?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Robert?
Sorry?
What about?
Yes.
Okay. General comment?
Yes.
General 2? General 3? AAC?
Yes.
CEC?
Yes.
CFC? CAP? DAP?
Yes.
FSC?
Yes.
SMC?
Yes.
TSR?
Yes.
Great, by a vote of 12-0, the motion passes and Jonathan is appointed. Congratulations, you are free to go whenever you'd like. And I'll be in contact about paperwork and everything like that tomorrow or tonight.
Thank you.
So before we move on from CS Mini, I did want to bring up with you all, so when we first started with these appointments, I had mentioned that the chair for this position would be internally designated, but once all of the folks in the committee were in place. And I've gone ahead and done so with Deborah Shaw, if you'll remember him from almost a month ago, I think now. So I wanted to bring up with you all would be whether or not you were okay with that decision. Maybe we can take consent item vote if that's all right. But basically, the main difference between the chair and the rest of the committee is the amount of stipend. It's an additional $200 a month, and just generally like being in charge of the committee's operations and funding decisions. And I chose Deborah because he's older, he has more experience with community service projects, with funding decisions, and he really stood out to my team and I during the interview process. So if you have questions about that, feel free to let me know, but I know he's already been in contact with Irma and Jessica and really moving forward on all of these initiatives. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put up a consent item vote for Deborah's appointment as chair. So is there any opposition to that appointment? Great, okay, so it will stand as it currently is, thank you. Great, so we'll move into the next appointment, and that is the last position on the Campus Programs Committee. So I know we did this one a little bit ago, so I'll go ahead and read the position description again. So Campus Programs Committee openings 4 positions, 3 regular and 1 alternate. The Campus Programs Committee is a subcommittee of the Programs Activities Board. CPC provides funds for student-initiated, student-organized cultural and educational programs that take place at UCLA. The target audience for these programs should be UCLA. The exception to this are events that bring youth and/or community college students on campus for educational and outreach programs. These programs can apply to the CPC Youth Programming Fund, solicit student views on the natures and goals of campus programming, and holds hearings to allocate funds for campus programs. That's about it, yeah. Time commitment, approximately 20 hours per month, and it is stipended. And as a reminder, we have already appointed Leslie Alvarado, Jerry No, and Kieran Arubi to that position. Any questions about CPC? No? Great, okay, so tonight we have Jennifer Toronto joining us. Would you like to stand wherever you would like and give your opening statement?
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Sharon Durango, and what I can introduce myself with is I'm a first generation Mexican American. I'm the first in my family to go to college. I'm a 4th year transfer student from Mountain City College, and one of the things I want to do after I graduate is focus on getting to a master's in education program. I really want to work with student retention at 4-year universities, and I want to see what steps it takes to increase those numbers and what it takes to keep them there. And one of the reasons why I want to do that is because I want to work at a nonprofit. I want to be able to work with high school and community college students, especially students of color. I want to be able to help them navigate their way towards 4-year universities, making sure that they have more academic success within the future. Yeah, that's pretty much.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Jennifer? Sorry,
How did you hear about the position? Well, I did work with the Academic Affairs Commission last year. So one of the things I did was I wanted to see how I can get more involved in student government. And so I heard about this position, and it really stood out to me because it's something that kind of ties in with my career. I want to focus on student services and being able to help the community, especially the UCLA community, and making sure that they have those resources and making sure that we can provide for them.
How do you community service, either in your experience as a service recipient or as a volunteer?
I feel that with my students, with everything that I was involved in, I feel that I can incorporate myself within CPC because I feel that I have a very big passion for helping students. Have a very big passion for helping, especially a diverse community, and being able to make sure that we provide safe spaces, we provide social networking, we provide support systems, being able to provide stuff that helps with
services that have mental health resources, food resources, we have transportation resources, because not a lot of programs here really provide that. And especially they don't prioritize one of my students at UCLA. And I feel that it's important to really attend to those concerns, because as a person, as a transfer student, as a first generation, it's overwhelming to navigate myself here at UCLA without having that proper help. And I feel like being here at CCP would really help me change the way that, not essentially dramatically change, but at least one step towards the door to helping students reach that next step. So my experiences with AAC, and also I've done a lot of community services here at UCLA. Right now I'm working with the Graduate School of Education right now, with this organization called Center X. And so I do a lot of community service when it comes to helping students. So I feel like that, my experiences, is really the help me be.
First off, I just want to say, I really commend you for all that you've done, all your involvements, and especially given the fact that you came here as a transfer student, having worked with transfers myself, it's hard for them to sometimes get involved, or just because they have to hit the ground running, as soon as they get here. You've done so many things, and I really admire that. And I guess the one question that I did have for you was, can you define the words, or what access and retention mean to you?
Access and retention. Well, I feel that first retention would mean to help students reach academic excellence, academic success. But in order to increase that, I feel that it comes down to not just proper resources, proper opportunities, but it all comes down to having that person that will help you to those resources, to those opportunities. I feel like as a person who came from community college, who transferred here to UCLA, I feel that I wouldn't have been able to do that without the help of people who really were passionate about really helping me towards my goals and going to a great university. And the fact that I'm at a prestigious university, it's really tremendous how just a couple people can really make a difference in my life. And that's what I really want.
Everything you said is amazing. Are there any concrete ways in which you see CUC being able to execute the vision that you have for CUC?
Well, one of the things that I want to do is, like I said, I listen to concerns. I feel like we need safe spaces, we need security, and we need, of course, a support system. All these services, we're going to need these. And especially since we want to prioritize the diverse community, we want to be able to place them first with these resources. And how I want to do that is I want to collaborate with other organizations on campus and those who have similar goals with me, and being able to provide funding to really meet those concerns.
Other questions? All right, Jennifer, feel free to move to your closing statement.
Well, I just want to say that being here as a transfer student, it means a lot that I can get involved and being able to share it with like-minded communities such as yourself, and I thank you for the opportunity.
All right, ARC?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a while ago, so you're trying to figure out where I was.
All of you three are there.
But we all, ARC voted majority approval.
It was.
Yeah, all three of us, sorry.
And I think one thing that stood out was this whole idea of giving back, because even in the application that talks about how her mentors helped her get to where she is, and then which is why I mean, honestly, as a transfer student, getting this much done is just remarkable to begin with. Which is from what I can recall, which is why I voted yes. I'm sure there's a million other reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, and then I think just the long-term vision drive. I think it's really important for people to either larger scale vision for the world and for the rest of the
And then, I think Jennifer also has a really good understanding of the importance of collaboration and being on campus. I think her multiple identities too really can help in this position, so what I remember, that was about what I applies, I guess.
Thank you so much, Darcy. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns, or is there a motion on the table? Great, is there a second? Moira, thank you very much. All right, vote roll call beginning with IVP.
Yes.
Generic 1,
Yes.
Generic 2,
Yes.
Generic 3, AAC,
Yes.
CEC,
Yes.
CSC,
Yes.
CAC,
Super yes.
STAB,
Yes.
FSC,
Yes.
SWC,
Yes.
TSR.
Yes.
Great, by a vote of 12-0, the motion passes and Jennifer is appointed to the campus programs committee. So feel free to go if you'd like, and I'll be in contact with my steps. Thank you so much. Great, and now both of those committees are filled. Very exciting. All right. So I'm gonna move right into the next appointment, which is Student Conduct Committee. That is a consent item appointment that I did ask our appointee to join us tonight. If you all have any questions, just to introduce yourself as well. So I'm gonna read the position description. Okay. Provides hearings for all cases referred to it under the Student Conduct Code. Must attend an orientation in early October, which is this coming week, the 19th. Meets whenever there is a case to be heard, including summer and breaks. And this is not a stipend position. And there's 3 openings. Karen is the first one to be filled, hopefully. So this is a consent item vote, and ARC only was required to do a paper review, which is resume and application. But again, I did want to bring Karen here tonight, just so you could learn a little bit more about her. So what we'll do is I'll save my time for her to give kind of an introduction, and then if y'all want to ask her questions, when I ask, is there any opposition, you can just say yes, even if that doesn't mean you're going to vote against her, but you'll just say that there is opposition, that you want to open discussion, and then we'll move into Q&A if you want. If not, because this is a consent item, she can just introduce herself, and then we can take the vote. Is that clear to everyone? Cool. All right, so I'm going to cede my time to Karen for a long night, just to introduce yourself, your experiences. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, sure. So hi, I'm Karen Fung. I'm a junior transfer here at UCLA studying political science. Prior to transferring to UCLA, I was heavily involved in committees at Down College, including Title IX, Grady Field, and curriculum. I'm really excited about the opportunity to be here and continue my involvement at UCLA.
Yeah. So we will move to ARC's recommendations, then I'll ask if there's any opposition. So ARC.
This was 3 approval. I loved your experience in student government at Santa Monica College, right? And then your work outside of Santa Monica College too. And I think that being a transfer, I think I'll express the sentiments that everybody else has, it is difficult to get engaged here at UCLA, but you have the experience from your previous time in college. I think to effectively carry out the position.
Aisha, Jessica?
Yeah, I think that we voted yes because similar to what Robert said, the application was remarkable. Again, experience she's bringing in is super cool. Experiences with like that night, just diving into that night cases and just kind of the whole. I think from something I vaguely remember was also this critical analysis of like anything that you're kind of like looking into or talking about, which I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I met Karen at one of the transfer transitions, but I know Karen is I think as a transfer, I know she's one of the transfers who wanted to come here and hit the ground running, and was really admirable. On top of that, she's also highly experienced, especially not only at Santa Monica College, but with her experience as an intern in the Feinstein's office, so I think that was really interesting, and I'm excited to see what she does in school, so I think it's
Great. So what I'll do is I'll ask if there's any opposition. If y'all want to ask more questions, if not, we'll just take the consent vote. So is there any opposition to Karen Fung's appointment to the Student Conduct Committee? No? All right, the appointment passes by consent. Congratulations, Karen. And where to go, be in contact with specifics of your training and everything like that too. So thank you again for being here for such a short time. We appreciate you. All right, so last item on for appointments is the Campus Retention Committee, George's appointment. So do you want to talk about what that is or who this applicant is?
Yeah. So my point for the campus committee would be Roberto Vasquez. I'll tell you a little bit about CRC just so you know. I'll just read this real quick. Campus Retention Committee oversees the funding, evaluation, and operations of the Student Retention Center in CPO, which is a collective effort of students from historically underserved communities to help undergraduate students with academic difficulties and cultural and social transitions, focusing on retention. The appointment is a commitment with responsibilities including but not limited to attendance and participation at CRC weekly meetings for the evening and reporting to the Student Wellness Commissioner for updates. So this position is not stipended. It's just a weekly meeting. He would be running a health and wellness committee, as well as reporting to me at least weekly. Roberto has been involved with CPO for all 5 years. He's been honestly a good friend of Patty, which is at UCS, and I've been in direct contact with her for all things CPO related. She recommended him to me, and I completely trusted her. I met with him about 3 times just to talk about what his roles would be and what I expect him to do for the Student Wellness Commission. Yeah, other than that, I think he's really qualified. He's got a health background. He's been involved with CPO for 5 years now. Very well versed with the community at CPO. So yeah, I think he's great for this position.
Great. Any questions, comments, or concerns for George? All right, ARC.
This was 3 yeses.
This is a consent, correct? Procedures in paper review. Okay.
He's really involved on campus, especially within the Chicano community. And I think that, like you said, he's, I think, going into medicine and health. He clearly knows what CRC is supposed to do as far as making sure students who are having trouble staying at UCLA are able to and getting the resources that they need. And I think that his work with communities like CPO and with communities that do often struggle here at UCLA makes him really well qualified for this position.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Similar to what Robert said, having experience with CPO, one thing I was really interested, maybe like if I ever get to talk to him or meet him, was learning about, I think he talked about having to somehow working around how we can use UC Shift for immediate family members if like someone because of that, like you're suffering or your academic success is suffering, which like is like a very cool idea because a lot of students do suffer academically or mentally or physically in other ways if their family is dependent on them and their immediate family suffers from something health related. I don't know how that exactly would work, but I would love to like maybe learn more whenever you get to speak to them about it. Yes.
Thank you. Jessica?
Yeah, I thought Roberto, I know he wrote in his application that he had experience using the program in CRC, and so I think that was also really important in his ability to fulfill this appointment or this role, because I think having enough experience, he kind of knows what is beneficial and what isn't. I also think he has a really good understanding of retention itself, and so, yeah.
Thank you. Is there any opposition to Roberto Vasquez's appointment to the Campus Retention Committee? No, all right, we'll pass by consent. Great, all right. And that concludes appointments for the evening. We will now move into the special presentations, and we have one from the CalFresh Initiative. Hi, Zach. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hi, everyone. Perfect. All right, well, hello everyone. Thanks so much for having me here today. My name is Mike Pearson. I'm the outreach director for the CalFresh Initiative. And the CalFresh Initiative is housed out of the basic needs community in CPO. And what we do is we address food security by connecting CalFresh to the student population at UCLA. Is everyone familiar with CalFresh and how that functions on the state of Minnesota? So basically, I'm here today to talk a little bit about how Usac can support our our efforts to address food security. And just a little facts for you all. There, at any point in time, there are 4,000 students that are eligible for CalFresh on this campus. Sorry, the slides are just for training purposes. I'm just going to be talking about the main front slide. Yeah, so our brief reference. So, where was I? At any point in time, there are 4,000 students who are not making use of their CalFresh benefits. Since 2016, the CalFresh initiative has been able to enroll more than 500 students at UCLA. I am one of these students eligible for CalFresh and depending on the resources that help us address food security on campus. One of the major issues that we've seen with our moments are the fact that we cannot access these benefits on campus. We give hundreds of dollars to students every week, but right after we have to say, go to Ralph's, go to Whole Foods. For many students, this is not an accessible way to get groceries every week. Personally, I don't have a refrigerator. I can't go buy groceries. I can't go to the grocery store, get a bag of groceries, and carry it to class personally. And many students feel the same, have the same issues. What we need for Usac is to help us institutionalize this resource for our students by pushing the benefits to your networks and also supporting our new efforts to establish EBT or CalFresh on campus. Thank you to the SWC. We've had a long history with partnership with their staff and Jay for helping us this year connect with Roy, who gave us a lot of information today after our meeting. We're trying to make this resource more accessible and hope we can have all of your support in these new initiatives that are happening in the next couple weeks or months.
Okay, so I have a question. This is probably something that you all might be able to answer as well. Signage. Like, have you guys considered if ASUC allow signage in regards to like accepting PT or accepting CalFresh?
I think that before we get to the signage, I think we need to work out the ability to take the actual program. So I think the signage is getting a little ahead of what we're trying to work out community we've had. So at this time, ASUCLA is not able to take the CalFresh tender.
Is there, because I know that we appointed someone for DOT who was really passionate about doing that. So what would that look like for ASUCLA to do that? Because I think there's, okay.
It's kind of technical, just to give everybody just get everybody up to what sort of the issue is. EBT is a debit system. So our cash register system doesn't take or deal with debit, that form of debit. So working with Ty, a group that we just met today, and I think we're going to make a presentation, the service committee, and I brought it up with our management team. We certainly want to work with the committee on this issue and find solutions to this, because we shouldn't necessarily, technical problems are technical problems, but hopefully we can find solutions to the problems.
So since we know that it's a debit system and we lack a debit system, how would we, I guess, what ways can we use the CalFresh initiative, or what ways can we support them in terms of fixing that? And the reason why I ask is because, like, it's nothing for, like, liquor stores to, like, get the monitors. I know, like, the investment might be costly, but I'm just curious in terms of, like, what does that look like? Does that look like purchasing, like, new car readers? Does that look like changing the system in regards to, like, adopting a whole new system? Like, what would that look like?
I think there are two sort of tracks that you can use. One is changing the whole POS system and the underlying software and the devices. Another path, and this may be the path that you're going to liquor some seemingly modest scale businesses that are able to take it. I think that there is a capability, and again, I need to get much deeper into this, with time in their group. But it's my impression there is a separate reader device that may be part of a potential solution. Yeah, so part of what I think we want to grapple with is that is a more public face. You know, sometimes I think the nice thing about the way these systems work now is they're very discreet. You know, people simply go to the grocery store or wherever, and they just seem to have a formal tender. It's not any, you know, any need to sort of say, I'm using some alternate form of tender. But that's partly what we want to work with the group on and work with the committee to, you know, to identify whether that, how much of an impediment that is, whether we can fast track deeper technical solutions to our systems. But we certainly remain interested in resolving this because it's important to our community. And it's a form of tender. There's no, you know, I mean, we should be able to find a solution to technical difficulties if the will is there to take the tender. And it's important to the community. So, again, the next step will be, you know, I mean, we already have management kind of talking a bit more about this, but it's really important that we talk to the community about what the characteristics of that solution look like.
Oh, sure. Huh?
Oh, sorry, what do you want to say?
Oh, I wanted to talk more about what our meetings today, you know, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I was actually gonna reference what you talked about in the meeting today. Would you like to?
Go ahead.
So something that Jake talked about meeting for Usac to support us with was different allocations of funding to help subsidize our establishment of this.
Yeah, I can explain that. Yeah, okay, so what we were talking about was that, I guess from what I can gauge, there are two sorts of kind of options that folks can go about this, and feel free to chime in if you want to add anything, but as Roy was mentioning, a more modest scale kind of thing would be to implement a kind of top brush designated curriculum, if you will, where, you know, folks could use their benefits. On the flip side though, like at a maximized scale, like an argument could be that people might be shy about going there because, you know, someone who might be an EBT might not feel comfortable like walking into the EBT kind of store within ASUCLA, right? Like that's one of the things that you know, was kind of brought up, that might be an argument. Some people just might not feel comfortable in kind of outing themselves as like, oh, they use this, or they might feel that in some way this is sort of stigmatized, like that they're receiving these sorts of benefits. If, you know, on the other flip side, and again, chime in if anything, is that it would be like a system-wide change that takes place, but that's not impossible, right? Like, I forget the exact figure, but that's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars kinds of money that would incur. And so what I had proposed with you all earlier at the meeting was that when folks go to the kind of services committee or the ASUC board in general, one of the things that might be powerful to say we have the support of the Usac. You know, we also, you know, intend to perhaps apply to our surplus fund, which will be opening up next quarter, and say the Usac is willing to support perhaps, you know, when, you know, at that point with this amount, can you match that, or can you, you know, cover the remaining costs, right? So that the entire cost of the system change is not, for lack of a better way of saying, placed entirely on ASUCLA, since it is rather pricey.
Okay, so do you know the figure either to specific?
Well, so again, we're kind of, I mean, I think the conversation here is best on this sort of kind of general philosophical stance, because we're getting kind of into some details, and I don't want to, I like to be really clear about when I know something and when I'm giving you a less clear, more speculative area. I looked into this, and I have the understanding that it was something like $150,000 to just upgrade the system if nothing else was being sort of done in parallel. In the end, we are likely to be upgrading the POS system that would be likely to address this underlying ability to deal with this kind of tender. but it is not something we had never looked at all in the past, because it's something we certainly should have been considering in the past, and the amount of money was somewhat substantial. I understand it to have been about $150,000 in the past.
I think that they shouldn't even be asking us for money because this is something UCLA should be giving us. Like, there's $3 billion in this thing, they don't know that we can't get these systems.
I'm not asking for anything.
No, I know,
I'm
I'm
just
just
trying to
saying, like, I feel
bring
bad
everybody
saying to
out
come to USAC and ask us for money, when this is something UCLA should be eager to put their name on.
So, yeah, the challenge that many campuses are kind of, their unions are run by the administration. And so that may be the reason why they have, you know, already, you know, gotten EBT dealt with. We are independent, and so those costs are on the association. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. I'm just explaining, you know, since the issues come forward and I've just started grappling with it myself in the last few days, talking to the group, that we are committed to working with the group and to look for solutions to this.
I have a question, how often does he use ASU to update their POS system?
So that gets really technical. I'm not really an IT person.
Wait, sorry, I'll just one question.
Can you, Ali, just having, Tyler.
I just wanted to say that, majority of UC campuses have, CalFresh available students at their campuses. The fact that, like, we can schedule the change later in the future, that's great, but there are students that are hungry today. We should have it as soon as possible, the funds should get to ACCA as soon as possible, it's available. So, that's why we're here, and that's why, we appreciate it and we're today for it.
Yeah, so thank you for coming and presenting to us. I really support this. I think it definitely seems like something it's really necessary. And so like in terms of how we can support it, I think that the ask was to like spread it through our networks and publicize it, right, essentially. So in about a month, UC is doing a pretty high profile event that will have a good amount of media coverage, and a representative from the UN World Food Program will be there. And so although that's more of a macro level, it still is addressing hunger. And so if you all, there will be like a 15-minute Q&A and also a moderated panel. I think that they're accepting like questions for the moderated panel. If that's just like, yeah, I think maybe that would be a great platform to like bring up that subject and talk about it a little bit, and it would, I'm sure, get some great coverage, get a lot of attention. So just if that's something that you want on your radar, we haven't released like details to post that yet, but you can email me and I can like get you contact with them.
Thank you.
Julie, did you have your hand up? I was just gonna ask if any other UC is like adopted it.
UCR, Irvine, Santa Barbara, Berkeley, not the #1 public university in the nation, but.
In terms of support, can AAC support you in terms of figuring out how they were able to accomplish that change?
Definitely, Roy's been incredibly helpful with, a lot she gave us this afternoon. I think what I want to gravitate towards is establishing the system-wide change so that ACCA can fully support students and show their solidarity with students who face food insecurity. I think doing the token system with a kiosk kind of puts a band-aid on the problem a little bit, and it's a great middle ground, but I think our goal can be accomplished with your help. And I think, again, it shows the solidarity that this institution does to support students who face these issues.
I have a question. So I agree with you that like having this like alternate system that is like a different place we can lead to conference to go to the way of that name problem, and possibly like in my personal opinion, by the time that you make this ASUCLI, like ASUCLI, why the amount of usage probably dramatically increase, which is probably what conference wants, is what we actually able to access food. But does that kind of system sound good in especially because we're saying that if we do regardless of money, my question of concern, if someone wants to address it, is time-wise, how long will it take to phase out all of these sheets? So if it's like a place on campus, that's a good place to start like the interim, or maybe like phase out one place for this year so that like you said, people who are hungry now can access the money that they need, or like access like, meals, like basically like the that they need now. Would that be like okay interim? Like, I don't know.
Something that Roy mentioned this morning is it would take still a lot of time and resources to install that intern program. So I think if we were to get started today on the system-wide change, it would be more impactful than putting all of our effort into the small step change and then working on the big one after.
I'm still agreeing with you,
Yeah.
but.
I agree.
Yeah, if it's not looking at the big change, can we phase it out in one place and then be phasing it out all the way?
That includes that includes training the workers, that includes the infrastructure, I think. Well, sorry, you probably can talk more about this.
I mean, really changing the whole system that drives the whole store system, is integrating the purchasing modules. I mean, they're complicated integrated systems. Obviously, we take the longest period of time, but get the greatest benefit. That's why I wanted to make sure that we work with the group to see if there's something which we can get to quicker. And, you know, one may be something in the store. I mean, Shelley, who was in the tie, was saying that a number of restaurant chains are certified to do EBT, like I noticed it in Wendy's and there's others. They had indicated, though, I think we're going to still look at that none of the campus restaurants were on that list. So I think we want to look further at that and make sure of that. In terms of our restaurants, you know, I think we'd like to work with the group to see whether there is a solution, both maybe one interim in the store and one interim in the restaurant solution. I mean, I think we'd like to find, I think we just need to get a chance to work on this. So perhaps one path is, you know, you guys are, you know, aware of this and initially at the ready to lend additional support while we, as a work group, work on this a little bit further and potentially come back and report maybe there's some additional assistance that the council can be as we evolve the solutions.
My prerogative as well is to get as many people signed up as possible with a small kiosk. I feel like it introduces the system in a different light. Kind of a halfway. I don't think, I think for the effort, it definitely like provides a service, but for the effort, I think it does a disservice as well in some sense.
So what pushed me to find the Center for Health Fresh is when I found out that you could use it at farmers markets. So maybe George, do you know if any of the vendors at the farmers market would be willing to accept EBT?
Yeah, so actually we've been talking, we wrote in farmers market, we've been all talking. They're trying, I mean, that's one of their goals for the year. I mean, it's a lot of people, but they will be trying. I mean, I haven't helped them yet for that specifically. I mean, we met over the summer and we talked about it a little bit, but mainly their priority was, for this fall quarter was just like transitioning into being funded by SWC and then being run by an SWC 21 digit account. Basically, they just were adopted under us, and so a lot of how they dealt with their finances are different now. So they're trying to learn that. So once they get that solidified, then I think the main goal for the year would be trying to.
And also, their largest vendor that's at the markets, or was last year, has their own EBT station. So EBT is available at that large vendor, but not at all the small. So we've been working. Yeah.
So you just want us to kind of continue the effort in terms of if our staff, if our community, if our outreach, like Usac folks, qualifies to disencourage.
To disencourage?
No, to encourage.
Yeah, to encourage them to apply and spread the knowledge of this resource. And also to keep accountable Erica Ricky, who y'all appointed as well, who ran the idea of getting CalFresh on campus. And also supporting us in the service community meeting that will be attending next month.
How accessible are things to the Board of Governors?
The students or the the other folks? The whole
board.
table?
Like, okay, that's.
I would say they're very accessible. I haven't had an issue yet. It's taken a while, but I definitely have gotten hold of Erica, and she was very helpful, inviting me to come speak at open comment, or however you say it.
Public comment, their meetings are all open to whoever wants to attend.
Right, so I've had an easy with that. Roy has been great, to help us and been another connection to the board. We can make use of. Thank you.
So outside of like, okay, so do you guys have flyers? So like some of us can put on our Facebook pages or our websites, visuals or
For
whatever?
sure, we have a whole file of folders. Can I share them to one person to distribute to everybody? To maybe Claire? To Robert?
One of us, yeah, sure.
One of them? All right, perfect. Yeah, that'd be great. And then we can maybe coordinate a math push, depending on what
So we do cooking classes for students. So one of our like goals this year is usually our cooking classes are culturally focused. We want to make them more like access focused, I guess. So like if you're cooking dinner for like a large family and you're one person, or if you're cooking dinner the whole week and you can have a certain amount of time, et cetera, et cetera. But if we can invite y'all to maybe speak about like how to sign up for CalFresh and things.
I'd love to come. And I can do some flyers as well. That's a very comprehensive way of signing up.
And do you have digital forms of the same flyer?
I've like made the flyers potentially, but I don't know if you like or someone else in California should want to come to CSC staff meeting, we'll talk about advocacy director so that we can like allow them to tell us general volunteers and all like project directors so that they sort of across their network, because like there are about 4,000 people. So feel free to like email me or I'll find a way to email you. And also if it's through advocacy, they might be able to tell projects to sub-recipients like university students as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Any other questions?
Thank you so much for being here, Ty.
I appreciate it.
I'm really excited to see all of the different avenues for collaboration, including classes. That's so cool to see you get all of that. So let us know, Ty, in the future how we can support you and what we can do. Look forward to it. All right, we're going to move into officer member reports. So I will begin. So the big thing I want to talk to everyone about today is appointments. So I'm going to be sending out an email with a lot of this later, and this is more directly relevant for those of you that have appointments. So Julia, Nadira, George, Daniel, a few. Everyone has a few, but those are the few that came to mind. I met with Karen Hedges from Student Affairs today, and for the past year, she's been conducting an appointment audit of sorts and working with all of the different campus departments and entities that have appointments. And we were able to go through the list of outstanding OP appointments and knock off like 5 of them that no longer exist. So I would highly encourage you all to meet with her and make sure that your list and your documents are updated. I'm also going to go ahead and make, so I have my own like breakdown of all the appointments that I have that still exist. I'm going to make like a massive Google sheet so we can all implement that, and so all be on the same page of what sort of appointments that we have, and then from there, there's a lot of outdated information in the bylaws. So what my appointments team and I are going to be working on moving forward is changing those bylaws and taking out some of the ones that are outdated, because there were some fact appointments that are still under president, which makes no sense. There are some appointments that simply do not exist anymore that are still there. So I just want to make sure that moving forward, the next council doesn't have to have this confusion of what appointments do exist, don't exist, who the jurisdiction is. So I'm going to send out an email with all this information again, but I would love to get that coordinated as soon as possible. Yeah.
So this kind of thing came up last year.
Sure.
Bylaw changes and stuff like that. I know it's taking a while to update it, so this is kind of like for the administrative reps. Has that been updated? Like bylaw changes? Because there was a few, I know there were a few made towards the end of last year.
Yeah, the current bylaws should be updated. I'll have to check the link and see what the date is on that, but we do keep track of the main bylaw changes, and update those as they come through, and I we had a couple iterations of the bylaws go up, like all around the same time with like major changes, so, I would just need to verify that the most updated one is there, because I know there were some unfortunate changes that also happened pretty recently. But we do keep record of all of those.
Going on with that, Jay, for your question about how to change the bylaws, there's a form, that I have, Robert should have it as well, I'll send it to you. And you just fill out the form, you decide like the part of the bylaws that you want to change, what that's gonna be. George did it earlier to change the farmer's market involvement, and other people have done it too. Bethany earlier, I think, in the year too. It's not too difficult, and you'll just send it out to council, put it on the agenda as a new business item, and vote on it, if that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention again, I would really recommend meeting with Karen. She's probably learning as much as you are at like appointments and stuff. She's kind of new at it, 'cause she just started, but she is like 100% willing to do everything she can possibly do to help you with your appointments. There were a few that I had never heard of for SWC, and Christina didn't really tell me about them, and Karen actually just provided me with the person to go to, and like all the information that I need to make that appointment, and it's just super helpful if you're having a hard time.
Yeah, we also don't want to waste students' time and interview them for appointment doesn't exist anymore. We realized today that we may have almost done that, and we were able to adjust accordingly, but again, I literally took like 5 appointments off, it doesn't exist anymore. So please respond to my email, fill out the sheets that I send out, to Karen. So that's appointments. Also on that topic, there are very few presidential appointments left, which is really exciting and strange. The big ones that are left are the other 2 for the Student Conduct Committee and of course Election Board, which again, we are working to get filled as soon as possible. We're gonna have to start, I'll answer your question in a second. We'll have to start making a judgment call pretty soon, in the next week or so, about who we have left and just not waiting for more folks to apply. So know that I am committed to getting that filled by the middle of fall quarter. I don't know if that one sit around and be filling for much longer. So know that I share your concern there. And there's a few left about like IT and data, and we're still trying to figure out if those still exist. So more from me on that later. But again, the big ones left are student conduct and election board. So we'll be doing some more PR this week. Please help share those. Did you have a question?
I have a question. How many people actually applied to be elected?
So we've had 8 applicants. One of them was Maher, who was brought up. Obviously, we're no longer considering him. But I will say what I've said before, that I personally and my team have not yet felt comfortable with an applicant. But again, if we don't receive any more in the coming week or so, then we will go back and reevaluate our decision making. And I will be very open with you all if and when that happens.
So you're reopening the application?
The application's been open like continuously since June, pretty much. Yeah, we just have we've been advertising it, but we're gonna do a bigger push for it this week. But again, this is not an appointment that I want to leave unfilled much longer.
Why can't we share it?
Huh?
We can't share the event.
Huh?
Like on Facebook?
You can, I don't think the event is up anymore. So what we're gonna do is like put it back up and put some graphics back up.
There's no application.
But on the Usac Office of the President page, from a while ago, there should be a few graphics about election board and what it entails. So we're just gonna do another push with those graphics, but the application link has stayed the same. It's tinyurl.com/OPAPPTS1819. Yeah, they definitely will have help advertising those and pushing those, but yeah.
This is like a very stupid thing to say, why is it, because they're just putting a ban over and over.
We could.
Honestly, I was thinking about that too, just because it's very hard to like reach out to people.
Go outside the offsite.
Yeah, exactly. So I was either thinking that or like having like a listing, like physical place in Academy Union, that kind of describes it.
You know,
so yeah, like
the boards that we have on
I
would read them. That's how someone found out about CSC.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people actually need to read them. So it might be worth updating it just to reflect the remaining positions.
Sure.
I'll
Yeah.
show. I found about CSC, like, we haven't updated that.
Okay.
Sure. we are always, we've been, emailing student orgs and academic departments and all that for months, but, always down for other forms of outreach.
Also, email Karen Allen, because I think she's humanities, she will relentlessly send out emails on for, I'll send you an email to see.
That would be great.
So we have like a master list of like just departments and department heads.
I do, if you want it, yeah, sure. I think so, there's a few that bounced back when I sent them over the summer, but there were only a few of them, academic department chairs.
Heather Adams is for you for first year series.
Yes, thank you, PRC, yeah, these are all sorts of entities that we should reach out to, thank you. Okay, any other appointment related things? No, okay, moving into the rest of my updates. We have officially selected 21 wonderful, amazing interns. It was really, really competitive this year, like 33% acceptance rate, which was difficult, but we're really excited. Their first meeting just happened actually. It was 7 to 8 p.m. on Tuesday, so I'm really, really excited to work with the internship class moving forward. And then another big thing to put on y'all's radar, I'm sure someone else is going to talk about it, but the Westwood Neighborhood Council, Northwestern Neighborhood Council elections, or Westwood Forward, are next week on the 25th. It's coming up really, really quick. Or is that? Yeah. 9 days, whatever. Soon. They're happening very soon. There is a Westwood Forward slate. You can read about them in Daily Bruin. Michael Skiles, my counterpart in GSA, is running, as are some other students that we worked with in the past. And I'm really excited about that, so tell your friends. It's the same sort of situation as the first election where it'll be in Woodin. You don't have to be like a registered voter to apply, you just have to be a student, to vote. You have to be a student, that's really great because our undocumented and international students can vote in this election, which is huge. And then lastly, I've been continuing to work on system-wide stuff through the Council of Presidents. We are meeting with Janet Napolitano next week, I think it's next week, on October 24th, so that's coming up really soon. I made and submitted the agenda last night, and basically, there's a bunch of items on the agenda I'm happy to share with you all. The 4 main things that we're talking about are basic needs security, support for undocumented students, both undergraduate and graduate, support for parenting students, and UC student relations. So again, these are from presidents from all across the UC that will be coming to this meeting and coordinating, and we've been working with UCSA, with student regions, and with some other stakeholders from across the UC on all these efforts. So a lot going on, but all exciting things. So that's it for me. Yeah, Alan.
Like making progress with
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. So we're still in conversation about when that's going to be. We were hoping to have it potentially next week. I will bring up updates when I have them. We're just kind of in like everybody's making sure that they're down and that their boards are down kind of thing stage right now. I also want to reach out to other great councils as well, so it's not just panel and IFC. So I'll try to do that like really, really soon. But I would like to have that happen as soon as possible. I just am waiting to hear back, so I'll follow up.
And would that be the kind of thing you're talking about where it's like a large scale discussion moderated?
Yeah.
So would you just send us a
Yes, exactly, yeah. So once I get confirmation from them, I'll send it over to everyone about when that would work. And then my intention behind it is like each entity would kind of present on its priorities. So Usac can present on some of our priorities, IFC panel on the other 3 councils related to these sorts of things, just so we're all on the same page about the policies that already exist. Because I know there were some things that some of us may be aware of, some of us may not be aware of, so, and then from there, take a Q&A, just make sure that it's very productive about how we can move forward. Yeah, Jay.
I was gonna say, I'm just wondering how effective that might be at this point.
Yeah.
Just because like, kind of wait, I feel on like, and like, is this gonna be an event that's open to the public? Like, are they going to be able to give public comments, stuff like that? Just because like, I'm not sure that it's, I hope this doesn't come your voice, I'll ask you, but like, I don't know if, like, is it still in our ballpark? Does that make sense? Like I feel like we said what we have to say, and like, I feel like now it should, what if it's like I don't know, like I feel like who needs moderation, and forgive me, it's like UCLA administration and like, to some extent, like, I feel like the USAC in a way has said what we have to say. Just because like, I feel like, I don't know, has it been stagnant to the point where like, how effective does, is our word right now?
I can see where you're coming from, and this is like a very like, what I'm about to say is very like, yeah, ooh, so lost in play, but Usac in the past, like historically, has done a lot in terms of pushing administration. So like, I feel like we have that, I know like, maybe in the past, like, maybe, I'm not trying to shame anyone, obviously, like, maybe in the past 5 years or 10 years, I didn't see that, like, Usac is like founded on pushing administration, but administration didn't work pushing stuff. So I'm like, I don't think necessarily that we set our piece and we should leave. I think even maybe being relentless is the way we need to go about this. Maybe it doesn't necessarily end with us, but if we set the tone of being relentless on this issue, like hopefully progress gets made. And I'm not saying it's gonna get made in like the next 3 months, but obviously this is something that we all have a stake in and we all care about. And I think it's worth pushing, but I do understand what you mean in terms of constitutional late because the council's gonna flip, right?
But there is continuity, so like the people that are running for IFC president are already on IFC.
Oh,
That makes
exactly.
sense.
And like, I didn't mean like, we need to exit the conversation, just like, can we somehow, like, not just in a kind of like, can we actually get UCLA admins like present, right? Because so that way it's 3 entities, not just like us, like the USAC and, because at the end of the day, we're both still students, right? So like, if students are talking amongst each other, like, that's great and it can lead to great things, but like, is the other party actually going to be here?
Yeah, the also will definitely come. I think, Sally, go for it.
I just think we're, right now, as we saw with that email, the student institutes are still not on the same page. That we need to be on the same page and focus on what pressure that we want to like, how we want to implement that pressure before we can focus our efforts and like have some compromise if we're still not on the same page when we're there. Like I don't know, we can figure out how we want to direct it, but I think that needs to happen before we open it up to administration. And then also like I have a little bit of concern and I expressed this about opening it up publicly, like and having public comment be a thing, just because I think that the reason we don't have a council is that creates like a power dynamic. I think that like, I don't know what will be accountable, but I also want it to be like a very open discussion. And maybe if we live stream this way that we remedies, that it's still accountable, but it's not like it's a discussion that we're able to like, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how to create a more open communication with people, sharing.
Yeah, going off of that, I think another reason why I think this is something worth pursuing is because the relationship between Usac and Greek Life, and other organizations too, but specifically Usac and Greek Life haven't really necessarily been on that same page and has even been, like, rightfully so, antagonistic in the past. And so I think it's important that Greek Life is actually, that both us and Greek Life are willing to have a conversation and maybe to be on the same side. And of course, if there's going to be things that they do that we disagree with, of course, and I want to continue to hold them accountable, but I think the fact that this conversation has even happened is rather unprecedented because generally like IFC or panel would just say, no, whatever, like we don't really care what you have to say. And so this is an important opportunity. And I understand the concern about how much can we get done with students and how much does it need to be administrative buy-in too. But if there's a way that we can be on the same page and somewhat coordinate our efforts moving forward, I find that very valuable. And I think as we move toward new IFC panel and like other council presidents, if that is the tone that is set for collaboration with USAC, that will lead to a lot more fruitful work in the future. Robert, want to jump in?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I really resonated with Bethany and how it said in the sense that I think we need to like coordinate our efforts, but then it just seems like right now, if we were to go to administration, it's like we don't even know what we would demand or ask or say. And I think that's a really big problem is that like we first need to get that down before we go to admin. So I don't think we're at the point yet where we can make a demand or make a request for some sort of change or actual action to be taken. So I really like the idea, Claire, and I think that it's necessary before we actually pursue further investment in this.
I'll keep you posted, I'll put more pressure on them to get back to me soon, but tentatively we were working with maybe before, so. Okay, yeah, Serena.
Just real quick, I want to also also highlight that there are other UCs who are also trying to hold the analytic council accountable. So if if they keep refusing to contact us and have these conversations, then I think we should just reach out to other UCs and create like a gigantic UCs tired your bullshit.
UCR, I was just in a phone call with another presidents on Sunday, and UCR is working on trying to mandate, I think they're trying to mandate that, like, mandatory CPR and first aid, like, training for some folks in Greenwood, because they just lost someone to hazing on their campus. So, hopefully that hasn't been something that's coming up here, but they're also working on holding Greenwood accountable in different ways. So, I would definitely like to see how we can merit those efforts moving forward. Yeah, okay. Y'all in the loop, and we'll move on to IBB.
Okay, I got a decent amount for y'all. The first thing, obviously, is good close to people. The community gathering tomorrow at 6 p.m. in Wooded. I want to thank Julia, facilities, and her office, and specifically her staff that have led this initiative and have made everything run smoothly with this and have done all the outreach. So thank you, Julia, for making sure that has happened. We really appreciate that on our end. We had our first Good Close, Good People student board meeting last week, which was the first time that this has been not affiliated with Usac, which was really cool. We actually had a bunch of PhD candidates come out, STEM majors, low-income students. It was a really incredible group of people. We've seen a trend that it usually is all women who attend these meetings, which is fine. That was the case with this meeting, and they seem really passionate. And it's really cool that we have students that, something I wasn't even thinking about is graduate students and PhD students who also struggle with housing security and these issues. To have their representation there was just really powerful. So if you all know people and that aren't traditional undergraduates that we usually are thinking about, that's awesome because these issues really face everybody, and we want the center to be open to students who are not just undergraduates. So definitely if you all have people that want to attend, we still have that every Wednesday. And that's going to be the new way eventually after we're gone, that the space is hopefully kept up and everything. It looks incredible. Thank you to be back. The artistry in there is absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if you're checking out Facebook, but it looks really, really, really good. So if you all want to get involved or help out in some way, please let me know. Residential life in the OCHC Constitution. So I just wanted to update you all on what's happening with that. So OCHC hasn't had a meeting with Res Life Admin to discuss making the constitutional changes yet to make it student run. They plan on doing that, and I think that's because some admin is out of town this week, so they weren't able to. There is a Daily Bruin article coming out about it, I think, in the coming week or two. If you are feeling particularly strong about that issue, Daily Bruin, from my understanding, is looking for people eventually, so talk to them. This issue really does deal with everybody because a lot of what Res Life does intersect with housing security, with basic needs, with a lot of these different issues. Culture on the Hill, social justice programs. So I really do feel like it is intersectional with a lot of the different offices that we have here. So I just wanted to say that making sure that we're continuing to support OCHC and USAC haven't had that much of a relationship in the past, and it usually hasn't been a good one when we do. This is a time where we have had a good relationship, where I think we are all on the same page on this issue, and I think that we should definitely capitalize on that to build a good relationship with our other student government leaders on the Hill. And just, if you all have any suggestions for them, definitely feel free to look out, because I know a lot of people in OCHC are looking for suggestions still and are looking for advice, and just making sure that we're supporting them in the best way possible while they lead this initiative. Next thing is campus safety. So we have our Campus Safety Alliance meeting this Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. in Kirkhoff 417. Some of your old offices were specifically invited to attend that meeting. If you weren't, you definitely can come. Just let me or Matthew know. UCPD will be there. We're trying to get a hold of other administrative officials to actually be there as well. But really, this is going to be an introductory meeting where we talk about what our mission is for the upcoming year and years, hopefully. Make sure this stays something that's operational on campus and what our long-term goals are. Yeah.
Could you explain more what the committee is?
Yeah, so this is actually, this was actually established in the bylaws for the internal vice president's office for us to chair, but it was not done for the past 2 years. So it basically was non-existent. So the only thing that was really close to it was the Hill Safety and Security Committee, which deals with resident directors, and various entities on the Hill come together to talk about safety. This is really like a broad platform where, and we actually lay out who's invited to these meetings in the bylaws as well, where various entities, whether it's from Greek Life, whether it's from HIV and AIDS prevention entities on campus, housing insecurity, Res Life, Usac, all come together to really talk about these big issues and how they can collaborate and provide support for each other. So it really is like a broad forum. That's really what we're like setting it to be. And then obviously, like I said, this upcoming meeting, we're really gonna lay out how we can accomplish like effective communication. Yeah.
This is like not great stuff.
No.
Is this like within the realm of talking about that policy that
It's
also being talked about? Because like that's been weighing on my head ever since they told us.
What are you talking about?
The policy, like, you know that they told us to go to CPO for the meeting on policy. That's
Oh,
security,
yeah,
surveillance.
so that's actually something.
Say that one more time, everyone.
Oh, sorry. So, policy that was on one of the meetings, I know which one that is gonna be that it's going to be for 1 second camera surveillance and like, that just makes me so uncomfortable, especially like, let's be real, like, I'm on campus, I'm like, oh, camera surveillance is the best thing, historically, it's been the best thing.
It's just over policing too, and like, which is a huge.
Well, I think that it needs to obey. And I think the issue is like, it's different from last year when we wanted cameras in the protocol, because it was like specifically for like the crime and theft that happened in Kirk Hall.
Yeah.
But, policy 133 is actually making this expansive across Cecilia's campus as a whole. So this is something, so Vice Chancellor Michael Beck, finished, I think, the draft review this Monday, but folks will still have the ability to like comment. And, an update is that like Oscar, and the folks in CPO wanted to, get a list of all the students that were there, and there are a lot of students. So I attended, a lot of students there basically had a lot of issues with the policy, and they felt like it was relatively broad, and to a certain extent, it was true. But ultimately, they are forming a letter to Chancellor Beck in regards to this policy, and like, I told them to outreach to other constituents of that building beyond just the folks who work as interns, because there's also a considerable amount of students that work on the retention side that are, part of the other organizations. And then also, what you call it? Yeah, so part of the other organizations, I don't know how far he's gotten in terms of that letter specifically, but I can like follow up with him. And then I think another thing that we can do as a council is like kind of express our displeasure with it, university, and that's why I wanted to offer to the council as well. Because he is looking for like signatures, so, I can ask him about drafting a letter if everyone cares to have.
You're good. I mean, and I was just gonna say too, that if you do that, I think that it's important, like, that we're collaborating with council about that, just because like Claire's office, my office, your office, I know a bunch of other offices like are very much so prioritizing campus safety this year. And I think that like this issue with the security cameras and over policing is really big. And I think that we've been trying to reach out to CPO to actually attend this meeting on Thursday, the entities that are housed within the Student Activity Center. So if there's a way that you could help us with that in here potentially, so if you have a lot of connections in there, that would be great. Just because we have not been successful yet in getting as many people from CPO to attend as we would like to. Sorry, Dr. Cody, you want to say something?
Yeah, my understanding is that this policy is not intended to expand the number of cameras on campus. It's intended to set guidelines so that departments aren't randomly installing cameras without following an established protocol.
Were they not going to, they were going to centralize them through Michael Beck's office though, right?
So that a department out, that has money doesn't go put cameras in without getting approval. It doesn't mean that Michael Beck's office is looking to add to the cameras on campus, but rather that, there isn't someone with a lab with extensive equipment in it that decides they're going to put cameras outside their lab to monitor what's going past it. Just because they have the money and they can do it and they're concerned about their things. So I do encourage ongoing conversation with Michael Beck, to get a better understanding of what it's intended to do, not jumping to the conclusion that it's intended to increase the surveillance on campus.
I understand that, thank you for clarifying, but based on what Vera was saying, from some of the reasons that it was vague. So like, I think we have an issue that this might not be the initial intention, but years down the line, someone might be able to basically, I don't like take not take advantage of the fact that this is vague, but basically take advantage of the fact that this policy might be vague in its writing.
No. Okay, so like provide your feedback. Every time there's a policy out for review, that review process is taken very seriously.
Yeah,
And
that's all it's
policy drafts can be revised and policy implementation can be delayed depending on the feedback received. So take the opportunity to give feedback seriously, engage with them, let them know what's important to you, and listen to what the intent is as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna post in my group meet. So like he clearly, that's what it was. Anyways, he clearly stated like the purpose of like what the policy is to. Sorry, I tried to find a group chat. What the policy is purpose to do. I think some folks were just kind of concerned because I was just trying to explain to them like at the town hall, it was just like you don't carry that same level of hesitation when you walk into the UCLA store. You're being constantly surveilled, regardless of who's watching cameras or not. Even, we see that once if you're dark, honestly, okay, it's just that people can be stealing, but that's none of my business. But the reality of the situation is that there's cameras all over campus. Like even people don't even know this, but like they're talking about like anxiety and depression, and like there's cameras and caps.
I'm just concerned. I think the reason why, and going back to the officer report, Campus Safety Alliance might, sorry. The reason like this entity would exist, I think this is a primary example, is it would have been great for example, Michael Beck's office or administration to like let students, leaders who are invested in campus safety know about this beforehand and be able to provide input much earlier on than now. And I think like an entity like this that would have existed would have been able to effectively done that. And I think that's the primary reason is we can sit here and have a discussion item about if it's good or bad or what the like even nuances are of the policy. But the fact of the matter is there's another forum that we could have done that in, and I think this is the way that it could have been done. Yeah, sorry, Royal.
No, I'm not trying to prevent you when you're done with this.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, I think it's a great opportunity to maybe accomplish two things, to sort of give the input that we would appreciate being reached out to earlier or more actively, so that we can give this input. But I think as Dr. Doe was saying, I think there might be intention here to just make a coherent set of rules that govern the whole system, so that like if students were trying to know, well, what are the rules that govern the cameras? Instead of being kind of Wild West, where it just sort of is by department, and it depends on the camera, and you have to ask one department or another department to make a correlated set of rules that are consistent. But it is also the opportunity for you to get your imprint on it and to give your input and your sort of observation that perhaps it could have been a better way to bring the subject up. I think maybe you could use this as it's an opportunity to say that.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. This is worth talking about. So I definitely think that hopefully it seems like a lot of us are very passionate about these issues in our basic campus, whether it's with reply or over policing and security systems and working with administration. So please, if you're available to attend and you want to attend, please do so. We really want this to be a collaborative effort. I know some of you already expressed interest in that. So I hope I can, sorry, I can't see you on it. Yeah.
Can you, Matthew, is he like, can you make a flyer so he can promote it to all the organizations, specifically the folks who wanted to do the town hall and stuff?
Yes, the reason we originally didn't do that was just because we had this room, so we didn't want to send it out to everybody to make it a public meeting. But I think that would be a good idea to send to an organization so we get like a representative to go. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, so like everyone in TPO and other organization, just because they orchestrated the town hall, so I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the those who attended probably wouldn't know because they don't walk in and out of those places all the time. Everybody in there was FCPO, whether they were interns, whether they worked in like some of the projects. With that being said, like I think it'd be important to kind of include them, especially since Oscar has an email out letter that if you would get to add that perspective and see like what we can do to like articulate that. Because I actually sat, so the in-laws called me in and was like, what's the deal with this policy change? And I was talking about like, so typically when the administration does like implement a policy change, like there's a public comment portion. Sometimes the platform itself is more official. Like for instance, one thing I was kind of that I think we could probably talk about to you as a council is like the platform for which he presented the policy like thing. Like it's a PDF, it's open case accessibility, which is cool. But when Blanty was making up an student conduct code, she explicitly asked for like comments. And not to say that like, and in some regard, like if you know that draft review means review this and make a comment. But a lot of students don't know that. However, a lot of students do have opinions and can be impacted by this. So I think one thing that we can do as a council, or even just any of us who have the time to meet with Michael Beck or even contact him, would be like, would you willing to have a forum space or collect data and these responses? Like there, because like Lancy also had a comment section on the webpage for the team of students, as coupled with an email and a timeline of like, hey, you have 2 months. Like she would do it like 2 months ahead of time. And I think that format would be really helpful. It would demystify and like kind of like de-escalate any type of chaos.
Sorry, let me just, yeah, so yes, definitely. I think a forum like that would be very beneficial, because I also saw those emails that were like comment or send a suggestion with not really knowing how that was taken. So anyways, once again, that's 5 to 6 p.m. this Thursday in Kirkhoff 417, just reminding you all. I said it. Anyways, okay. Our next thing, the platform with working out with outside organizations. We've just been working a lot with Queer Alliance these past couple of weeks to talk about how IDP wants to take up Pride Week weekend, and I think they want us to as well, because it is a big event that needs a lot of funding. IDP in the past has traditionally done Pride Week until last year, when I'm pretty sure AAC took care of it. So they do want to collaborate with multiple Usac offices, not just ours. And I want to make sure that if any of you are interested in working on that, helping provide funds potentially, I think by that time we'll be able to get surplus funds, or at least a larger amount of money than what contingency could cover for it. So just let me know, or let members of Queer Alliance know that you might know that you might want to be working with them, because I think they are looking for other entities to be involved.
Wait, other ways to get involved?
Sorry? Pride Week.
Okay. It's fine. I've literally talked to like so many people in Queer Alliance, and I'm just like, get it together.
Yeah, so I've been meeting with Stephanie this Friday, talking about collaboration.
Oh my gosh, she called me too. Like I'm in contact with her, Michael, the new president, all of them. And I'm just
So
like,
that's good.
y'all need to get it together, because like when we're doing Pride Week, like I'm trying to get y'all. Like I also have been trying to work with this model with me. And I'm just like,
Exactly.
great, what's
So
the tea? Like,
I think we're all like being reached out to them, so we probably should coordinate on that.
you know what's fucked up? It's like they're like, oh, we're so busy. No, this is love. So if y'all seen it live, I'm being honest. But it's all love. Yeah.
You're right.
We'll talk for. Are we? So IDP and AIDS. Are you gonna keep it?
Yeah, that's, I
We
think,
need to include Black.
yeah.
It's gonna be. Are you sure Black's gonna want us? Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay.
So I think that's their intention too, is that it's gonna be like all of us working together on it. Because I know that you all did took that lead last year, when Vivi wasn't available too. Anyways, onwards. My last thing, the internship program is starting this week. We have 18 interns that we selected for the program. Kyle Sample and Daniela are both really interested in getting some of you all to come and discuss with them or talk to them. Like any of you all council members, go and tell them what your office does, give your office a clout, do it. Yeah, okay, I'm done. Onwards.
Hey, retreat.
Oh, so the retreat. Listen, it's gonna be popping. It's this Saturday to Sunday. It opens at 4. Alex, please, if you know Alex, give him credit for all of this. He has run this whole thing. He has done everything. I've not done anything. Like, yes, he's doing the agenda. Like, don't even ask me anything. Yeah. What's up?
My question is, does the Airbnb host know? Because CSE has been kicked out of Airbnb before, so it's everybody knows.
So.
That's why I'm asking.
Because the Airbnb does know how many people are coming.
Yes.
The Airbnb thinks though that we are a family. We can be a very like familial, if they ask, we're all brothers and sisters. Cousins. Adopted. I'll be the gay of this, okay? Anyways. That's because I don't think that will be a problem. They do host the amount of people that are coming. Like, it's not going to be over or under. So they're really going to get petty at us for not being a family.
I saw that it's self-checking.
Yes, it is. So there's an access code, so we will never meet the host.
Yeah, that's true too.
I saw some reviews of this girl that hosted her bachelor party. I doubt they were all like.
No, Alex checked on all that. I trust him. Like, he's been absolutely incredible. Yeah, so please, if you know him, thank him for this. Anyways, like I said, it's really going to be focused on 3 main events. So there's going to be an agenda, but the 3 main events are the dinner. We're ordering Olive Garden. Hopefully that's a thing where we can all get together. We do have vegan and meat options for both of those. So if you are vegetarian or vegan, we have those options available. And if you're not, and you like meat, you have that. So, sorry? Ooh, no. Sorry, shouldn't account for that. Second part is just really going to be us sitting down together and, a sort of informal session, collaborating about going through what each of our offices are working on this year, where we think there's points of collaboration, and really talking about how we can make that happen. I think that's going to be a pretty long conversation. There's 13 of us going. We all have ways that we can collaborate with each other. That's probably going to last 2 or 3 hours, and the rest will just be chilling and hanging out. If you all do have a suggestion on something that you feel like should be in the retreat, it's not, like, just let me know, or let Alex know, either of us, just because, like, obviously we can do things like icebreakers or more like community building if you all want that. I just didn't know if that was something that, like, just wanted naturally to happen or not. Yeah, Jay, sorry.
Not to, how can we like reduce the funding for?
Yeah, so as you all know, like, we have I would also argue an overly substantial budget for this. It's around $3,500, which, like, I think Jay has expressed to me, and I also would agree with him, that we do not need that much money for a retreat. So that would be a question for Jessica.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Real quick, how much total have we spent on this?
I think about 2,000.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more. And some of the stuff we bought is reusable. So we did buy 3 air mattresses. Because the reason that we're allowed to stay there is because it's assuming that each person staying is a couple. So we were all going to, I think 1 or 2 of us will still have to share beds, but that's the reason we bought air mattresses. So those will be permanent usage.
Because I feel like we could have shared beds. What's the reasonable purchase for the air mat?
Well, I was worried because when we asked if multiple people in this privately messaged me saying they did not want to share bed, and which is understandable. And some people publicly said they didn't want to share bed, so that's fine. Like, there's no problem with that, but we had to accommodate for that.
Because I just think like any other platform campus, like they would have had to share. You know what I'm saying? They would have had to share bed. I don't know.
No.
No.
Some people might have like things that have to put on pause, might get a
Well, like they would have because like I know for like all the retreats I've been to, like they'd ask like, is like who's okay sharing the bed, and like accommodating the bed space. So like, or bring sleeping bags. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I just don't know about like, and no shade. I'm just like, this is why like my whole thing is like should be reduced the cost.
Well, so we have mattresses, we buy mattresses at CSC, we have 2 in the office.
Okay.
We accommodate for the fact that people don't have sleeping bags or mattresses themselves.
So it's your use.
So it's your use.
That's what I was trying to say. Is that this might seem like a wasteful year-by-year investment, but these can be used in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also, like, to Robert's credit, he did ask everyone in the group meeting, like, because like they had an Airbnb that tanked.
Yeah, I think I commented I have my own mattress.
Yeah, so I think he did do some due diligence, because we all could have been, and we are transparent, aren't we?
Still, some people will be.
Oh.
Yes. So I really did try to accommodate for who told me they do not want to share a bed, how many beds we have, how many beds we need, and then we ordered it. So like Jay, your concern is very valid, and I tried my best to accommodate for that. I didn't ask about sleeping bag just because I wanted. I didn't feel like I should have because I felt like everybody probably wanted to sleep on some sort of mattress, so that's why I did that. And I also felt like when we purchased them, they would be used for future retreats to save the cost on those. So that was really where and these can also be used not just for retreats, but if an office wants to borrow them now, we have 3 air mattresses that you all can use. And I know that all of our offices go on retreats, so like, this would be a solution. But yeah, the main cost did come obviously from the price of the Airbnb, which like it could have been reduced in the past. So I mean, that is something we could talk. Sorry, Alan, you have a question?
My question was just like we could borrow the air money, because these at my retreat,
Yes, yes.
For this weekend.
No, yes, so, yes. Like, when we bought this, that was very intentional of us to like keep them in Usac spaces.
I don't think we need to spend another 10 minutes talking about air mattresses, so I'm gonna ask Robert if he has anything else to add, or if we can just move on to EVP.
Are we able to reduce the budget for the retreat?
It would have to be moving forward, I think.
Yeah, not this year, but moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's something you wanna address when you're approving your budget. So
Yeah.
like specific line items through SGA that they set aside separate from your ops budgets and all that. And you also don't have to expend that also, so.
George, you had a question?
Yeah, unrelated to price, can you send an agenda ASAP?
Yeah, Alex is making it, so we're good, like it's getting done. I thought I'd share the general outline of it. Yes.
So when are we leaving and when are we?
Okay, that's another thing, is that, sorry, this is the last thing, is it needs to be coordinated. So like, I'm leaving early, like 3 or 4, and I have 3 or 4 slots in my car, so some people will come with.
So what I will do right now is make a Google sheet
There we go.
of 3 cars that are driving and when they're leaving, so it's me, Robert, and George, and when we're gonna leave, and then you all can sign up for who wants to go when. I don't mind making multiple trips, but it would be easier if we just all make one trip. Yes.
I can drive. I have to supervise tailgate, I think, but I can drive the back.
Okay, yeah, we'll figure it out. If we need more spots, I will let you know.
Thank you.
I'm also probably going back a little bit early on Sunday because I'm dropping Jay back for the game. But anyway, we'll figure it out. Thank you, Ellen. Okay, anything else about EVP? All right, EVP.
All right, all the things. So, went to UCSA, facilitated a potential coalition between UCSA and Up with Growth, which is a housing advocacy group I've been working with the past few weeks. Got to hang out with Claire, connected with some EVPs. She came in her council president's role. Did break out with vote coordinators and replace our state registrations, and I think we'll hit at least the same number that we got in 2015, which is pretty exciting for a midterm here versus how high profile 2016 was. So Unidos grant is officially secured and coming in, and it's allowing me to compensate volunteers in my office. I've been going above and beyond with the vote, which is like super exciting because we all know how much free labor that we ask from our office is painful. Partnering with the athletic student council, so we're going to expand our reach there, working with some sport teams, getting some visibility, voter registration outreach. Got a grant from MTV, y'all. MTV gave us money. We're trying to get them to actually come out and cover our party at the polls. But so they gave us $1,000. So on top of that, with the Civic Nation one, we now have $3,500 in grants for our party at the polls on November 6th. We got Bruin Plaza from like 3 to 8 p.m. So we're looking at having a taco truck, an obstacle course bounce house to do a race to the polls. We're gonna have.
So cute.
Thank you. I'm really excited about that one. So if you have any other suggestions about like what you think would be good at this, like some swag, food ideas, let me know. Also, we got 300 registrations today, guys. Yeah, so this week we're in the dorms, the dining halls, have some tables set up outside dining halls at lunch. We're doing a bunch of class wraps. If you want to help out with Bruins vote, I can get you swiped into the dining hall. So this year, this has never happened before, but ResLife is letting us go actually into the dining halls to register people, and they gave us some meal vouchers so that way we can like get volunteers that don't have meal plans. So more incentive to join me. Also, I met with Leanne, who's our Title IX student advisor, about UCOP's new Title IX policies, and we're working together to figure out some potential talking points that I can go over with UCSA for our meeting with Janet Napolitano at the end of the month. And also ways that EVP can help promote preventative rather than reactive policy measures to address this financing. Also working on setting up our local lobbying trips for Fund UC campaign, which is focusing on tuition buyout. Also, fun facts, there is talk about the potential tuition hike this year again, because last year's funding was only one time, it wasn't ongoing. So it, honestly, at this point, with the back and forth that's been happening, until we get ongoing funding secure, I wouldn't be surprised if tuition hike is something that comes up every year. Exciting.
Wait, so how the hell, at that point, like, rather than just reimburse people $60, like, let's just not.
Well, so that's the thing, that wasn't a tuition rollback, so that was a student fee that was like placed on that had, it was like 5 years it was supposed to expire, and then, they weren't gonna actually take it off, they were, because all this, like this, people had always had it on their thing, so like no students would notice if this $60 just stayed on there, and so like Regents and UConn was thinking about keeping it, and then we were like, no, you promised the legislature that we were gonna roll this back, we did all this work to like get the tuition filed, please don't screw us over and like keep this fee. So it was actually not really a tuition rollback, it was like, we convinced them to actually get rid of this fee like they promised, but rather than going into that very long explanation of what happened with people, we were like framing it as a tuition decrease, because it essentially worked the same. I also wasn't like a part of that advocacy, that was something that happened like last year that was like inherited. But that's what that was. So that is kind of one of the things that we're working on our industry meetings with, also with like Fund UC is now working on our strategies with that. We've been meeting with legislators to talk about like what budget asks could potentially look like since the summer. So lots of work being done around that one. Also, ASME is going on strike Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So show up and support our workers. They have still not secured a fair contract. It makes a huge difference to workers when students show up. They've talked about how they often feel invisible on campus, and when we show up and march alongside them, it really shows that we care. So please, please, please show up to those protests. Also next week, as I mentioned, the Westwood Board election is happening. So USAC offices cannot endorse candidates, but in your own capacity as an individual, you can endorse people. The undergraduate reps on that have announced that they're running so far is Oshrock and Melissa, Oshrock Michelle and Melissa Tapia, to be determined if there's more people running for the undergraduate seats. EVP will be doing nonpartisan outreach to turn people out to the election through Pledge to Vote, filmmaking, and flyering. We'll be framing it as an important election for students to turn out to, because one, everyone is eligible to vote because we're all stakeholders in Westwood, and two, the elected reps will have influence over affordable housing and available nightlife in Westwood, two issues which are very important to students. So we're still kind of like advertising that importance of the issue, but then not talking about specific candidates. We did hire our 16 interns, so they're having their first meeting on Thursday, and we're plugging them into the ASME strike as their first organizing action, which includes voting Fridays on Kirkhoff patio between 12 to 3 p.m. So that's coming back. Also, shout out to SLAP for all the work that they've been doing. I'm asking a question at the Lieutenant Governor Forum tomorrow in downtown with UCSA President Caroline, who's also the SD EVP. She's staying with you next, so she may just like roll through here, do with her. Also, so a lot of the things that I talked about are kind of the things that like I have been focusing on, but also like all my campaign coordinators for the last couple weeks have been scheduling meetings with a bunch of different people in communities to discuss what they want to see out of the different rights campaigns. I'm in racial justice now. Setting up various meetings with admin, so that way we have a strong coalition over the next few weeks. So especially post-election, we can have a strong transition, fully focusing on those, and then in winter when it will be very legislatively focused. Last, my office apps are reopened until the 21st. I need a finance director, I need a couple graphic designers, and a few more legislative advocates. So anyone that you know that's artistic, likes math, and reading and promoting policies, send them my way, tinyurl.com/fallEVP, yeah.
Oh wait, how did you do that?
It was just open.
Wait, no, like it literally.
Oh, yeah, I just tried it once.
I just began a random consonant. I was like,
and it's all lowercase too, it's nice and easy.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
that is all. Any questions?
What are you not working on? That's my question.
I don't know, man, I'm already at 30 hours a week, it's Tuesday.
Jesus.
Okay, well, thank you for all that you do. Okay. A lot of things. All right, agenda one.
Hello. Okay, so week 7 is International Ed Week, bless you. Week 7 is International Ed Week with, Jenna Khan is working with the Biography, so at the bottom right on that, we have our Conversation Cafe, where a bunch of folks from student affairs are coming, and so I'll share a volunteer form with you all. It's basically like you go ahead and like share your story about it. So it's not, over the past couple of years, International Ed Week at UCLA has mainly focused on study abroad, so we're trying to like reshift the focus on a bunch of things that could potentially mean like international or like not from being, or like just like something that's like not technically American or per se. So a bunch of topics that are international student resource task force teams would want folks to talk about at and it's just like studying abroad, career culture abroad, being an international student, refugees, coming to US from a developing country, speaking another language, religion, DACA, disabilities in different countries, studying different disciplines in foreign countries. And topics such as those. So I'll forward everyone like the volunteer sign up form. So you basically like get to kind of like speak for like around 10 minutes and it's just like have your spiel about like whatever that is. There's a committee that like goes through just like what your intent might be. Vice Chancellor Monroe Gordon would be there, the director of the Piaget Center would be there, a bunch of folks from student affairs and international institute would be there. It's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on so November 16th, week 7-5, and I'll share the details exactly for that. With that, International Student Wellness at IS12, which basically is a committee with Dasher Center CAPS, met this week. There is an international student, MySSP, which is an international student mental health support program. We're working to get that. So as you come in as an international student, you have to fill in this out. And I'm sorry to do like a lot of this international student stuff. I get on to like other stuff too. But there is so as an international student, you come in and do an online orientation called iStart. So we're trying to mandate, we're trying to have like a mental health component on iStart because mental health in various countries differ from like you might be not as exposed to the idea of mental health in other countries that you are in here. So students would be asked to like download this app, which basically offers you mental health services or like mental health professionals who speak different languages. They still don't have every language, but obviously it's more accessible and like more readily available than maybe like services like CAPS. Then, our special projects team has been working. So I've been involved in a bunch of like interfaith stuff since my time with like the general offices before and the president's office last year. There were each year there was like interfaith dinner, a bunch of events that were being done by these like different individuals from all these spaces. They finally decided to form an organization like at UCLA. It's going to be called Spirituality, Religion, Faith, etc. And they are super excited to register it because there was this whole talk about like how there's like a bunch of like just like how the term interfaith has been politicized. The University Religious Center, which basically had like funding over $10 million, didn't have any student representation and they weren't sure of like how to get that student representation in. Now that this org would exist, would also call for like student representation within their board. So they have this like bunch of money that they want to spend on like conversations around cultures, faith, belief, and things like that. So whenever that like really turned, like whenever they had released the application or like things along those lines, I'll share that with you all and like you can share with folks within your offices. Also for the Conversations Cafe, we do need volunteers, community speakers, we also need volunteers to volunteer throughout International Ed Week. So if you all wanna, if anyone from here wants to do it, you get a free t-shirt, you do the job include like sometimes one of the days would be like at one of the conversations, you would maybe be flying at Door Walk. We have this huge map that we place at Door Walk where you like kind of like embracing the international aspect of UCLA. So you like put a pin, put a different color where you're from, where you want to go, where your last vacation was. It's like this colorful map that comes about after. And then Nadia might want to talk about that maybe a bit more, but if you have international folks in your offices, we have this interest form about like an emergency course. I might have shared it with some of y'all, but if you do have people in your offices or like no international folks, let us know. We'll send you this like super good Google form. It's just like gauge interest about like the certain course that you might be able to offer. And that's pretty much
Can you lose Maggie into the interview?
yeah, she emailed me today, so I.
She's doing your house.
Yeah, she emailed me today about that, and this meeting was literally last week, so if I had known that, I would have like reached out to her from before. But I definitely let her know we were probably meeting to like form this student org, so we'll probably just like.
You're awesome. Thank you. Bella.
So my office applications close on Friday, so I don't need, so I've had this space reserved for meetings to come, but if anyone needs this room this Thursday from 7 to 8:50, I'm not gonna use it because I don't have an office yet, so if no one wants it, I'll come study here. So yeah, I'd love some, a couple shares or connect some people with my applications. Robert, myself, Jimmy, who's Good Clothes, Good People rep, we had a really successful meeting with one of the sorority house presidents and house moms, my sorority president and house mom. And they are super on board with getting some bins institutionalized in there. The house mom was like, "There's homeless students?" I thought that was a rumor, so that's good. And then, oh, speaking of that, I am in contact with an LA Times reporter who wants to do a story on UCLA homelessness / like good clothes, good people. I'd love to get some good data to send over to them. I'm not sure if they're local news or nonprofit news. Either way, they were also like homeless students at UCLA. So those are good things. That's all for me.
Great.
So tomorrow I have the Law 11-minute event where it's going to showcase the junior narratives for planning and stuff. And I sent another group me and to share it to your offices and stuff like that. And it's going to be like a sticky picture of support, and then we're going to get flyers and facts of like why the junior narrative is that problematic, and then what you can do to like into the community. Then the next Wednesday is the day of action, which I've been talking about. We're going to be giving free shirts to anyone who, we're going to have a home bag event, and so everyone can send more calls and get a t-shirt with everything. And then this weekend we have a retreat, and the majority of the people in my office are new to Usac, so I've been asking them how Usac works, what can we do with it, and all that. So that was good. And then one issue that I want to bring up today before coming here, I went to the thing, I did see the voter registration people, and honestly, I didn't know how to react when they were like, "Oh, did you vote already?" Or "Did you register to vote already?" Because I don't know, I didn't know how to react to that. So I don't know if there's a protocol to like how to ask.
We've been telling everyone to say, "Are you eligible and interested in registering your current address?" And so that's something that we've been working on continuously reminding people, and so we'll just keep yelling at people to do that.
Is that like on your training and stuff?
Yeah, that's part of our training, and I think like it's hard because it's not like I'm out there able to like the people we have out there, but that is something that we are working on normalizing within people's minds, because I think it's the biggest problem with people who did it in 2016 who didn't have that framing. So we used to do that as an intro, it's bigger, and so we are working on really reminding people. But I'm sorry that that's still an issue that makes me annoyed because we've been here. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That.
Appointment applications are still open, and we're looking forward to bringing some to council next week. I didn't know if I was gonna make it tonight, so I didn't invite Kathy in for Campus Sustainability Committee, but she will be coming next week. So if you wanna like take a look at her application again and then write down your questions for her. Second update is that the Lyft share rides is still live, so we still have that like $4.99 flat rate going on from like a 5-mile radius to and from the campus. And the code for that is like UCLA 499. I'll put in the group meeting so you can share that with like your staff, like your friends. And that's open to like any ruin on campus. Tomorrow we have our first Bring Bazaar event from 2 to 5 p.m. And it's basically like you bring an item to the fact table and you get to switch it out to like something that we have there. So we're kind of promoting like the reused culture on campus. And then lastly, we have the Close Good People community meeting tomorrow with Robert and like everyone there. I think if like anyone wants to come, just like let us know, and then we can like make sure we have space for you there. So it's like there's maximum capacity, of course. But we're gonna be having like a little talk about the center itself, and we're also gonna be showcasing like how it looks like right now.
This is like something we talk about, we'll do about this, like something like I need to ask.
Okay, yeah.
FSC?
Yeah, so, kind of like alluded to it earlier today, but we're hoping to make some changes to our bylaws. Currently, our bylaws say, like, direct quote, the FSC shall address issues of financial concern on campus, and we wanted to include some like kind of different wording to also ensure that we're that future commissioners approach their commission in a way that promotes social justice more explicitly, if you will. So that's something that we're super excited and we hope to bring forward to you all in the coming weeks, hopefully next week. We had a very productive meeting with one of the UCLA fundraising directors, folks from the START campaign team. They're super awesome. We hope to get a START campaign ready and going to provide the scholarships for our professional wear that we hope to distribute sometime around the spring quarter. So we're trying to set that up in the fall, fundraise actually in the winter, and then distribute in the spring. We also had another productive meeting with the financial wellness program today, and they're super excited to continue working with FSC. And we were actually, we're actually in the process of organizing a kind of joint workshop between the financial wellness program, our office, and the public service and civic engagement and learning committee on the Hill, as well as other kind of cultural community-based programs on campus, with the focus of budgeting on a rural budget. Yeah, budgeting on a rural budget to promote, financial literacy and so that students are, not spending their money in a way that where they don't have it, come January per se. That's one of the things I'm speaking with the financial wellness program. They said that sometimes students come and say, I ran out of money, and it's the quarter's still, not over. How can I, build better skills? So that's one thing that we're trying to do. And that will be coming up in November. And then our retreat will be this coming week, October 27th on Saturday. So we're super excited for that.
Thank you. CDC?
Yeah, so not like a ton of programming stuff going on in the coming week. But we have a lot of internal stuff going on. We just hired 13 people for some of our programming staffs and like development staffs, and then we're still getting through all the concept applications. We're really like stoked we're gonna actually have a lot. So those people will get hired in the remainder of the week, and then we'll have all our news, and we're gonna do a pumpkin carving staff meeting to start off the year, so I'm really excited about that. We also had our retreat this past weekend. Like I said, I slept on the floor. And if we're concerned about having to use on this Airbnb, I'm not gonna give like explicit numbers, but we had over double the amount of Airbnb. And we were fine.
We take 30 people for PSA and we like go for 8. So.
Yeah, we were fine.
We don't have money, we're cultural.
Yeah. I'm really excited things going on, and most of my stuff for this week is, but some things that we got started at we are creating a media gallery on our website, because we didn't have that before, so it showcase all of we have media production staff doing really wonderful work, they take a lot of photos after the event, sometimes photos of students, but of the artists, and then just make really funny promotional videos, and none of those are ever really put anywhere except Facebook. And something we're trying to really like address this year is access to our events and stuff from people who like don't have access to social media, and then also like another thing is don't have access to even like regular access to a computer, and so we're going to try to start doing a lot more in-person flyering. We're taking that off a little bit this week for some of our other events that will be coming up in the future, like CMF, Fire and Broom Walk, and we also start being image boards. That's really exciting because I think sometimes sometimes you don't have a computer and it's like really tough to know about any of our events. You can do everything through Facebook and Eventbrite and stuff. And I think that goes for a lot of stuff at UCLA. And then another thing that like is on social media, like you can't have everything in person. But it's related to something in person is Spot On Drone Walk. I got this a couple weeks ago, I think. We're reviving it, but making it a little bit more like interactive and engaging because it's not a ton of it's just words. And I think that like we've seen over in LA has like taken off in the past like year or so, and so it's going to be similar to that. But if any of you read like or follow the New Yorker, how they have this little fun cartoons that are like relevant to like the caption. So we also have like an incredible print team, and their work is often showcased on much. So we're gonna start like having them draw little doodles to go along with like the Spotted on Road Walk submissions, to kind of like jazz them up and make it a little bit funnier. And then we're gonna start sharing. Yeah, and also media gallery. So I don't know. I'm just excited about like the staff giving the recognition they deserve and just reaching out to student communities that would otherwise. Cool.
Ellie, are you planning on giving George Ben venue award?
Yeah,
venue award.
It's something that we're interested in reviving, yeah. And I reached out to Greg, who was commissioner a few years ago, because he has some experience with that. But yeah, we're interested.
If the campus were interested in bringing apparently well-known media to campus in the spring as part of the launch of the Centennial. And we're going to be paying for that person to do a concert for competition. Would you be interested in talking with them, perhaps in the selection, to see if that might be someone who you want to present over to as part of the package to entice them?
Yeah, that would be okay.
I'll connect you to some people.
Okay, thank you.
I know it's hard to brief the CHIP meeting for like 2 minutes while I'm in the restroom, but see you. Sorry, I drink a lot of water. So the first thing is our executive board is running, so I'm super excited about that. A good mixture of a lot of incoming transfer students, which I know is a big risk, but I really didn't want to close off opportunities to incoming students. So I'm really excited about that. We are going to keep, I think we're going to do it a little different with our staff. We are not going to close our application at all. I just think transfers have such a specific timeline that integrating onto campus comes at different points, and I don't want to close off someone because their timeline might not be as fast as students who go in the summer. So we are just going to keep staff applications open throughout the year. We've already had a few, we haven't publicized them yet, but I've really seen a lot of really excited transfers who not only want to work in this office, but want to work in all of your offices as well. So on top of that, our office is talking about, I had a meeting with Vice Chancellor Gordon. A lot of my issues that I feel in this position is that, and I don't think any other transfer student representative after me this is going to change, is that there's just a lack of institutional knowledge. And so when we get here, I feel like we waste a lot of time, and then essentially at the end of the year, it seems like we're not doing as much as we could. And I kind of found a point where doing events was not really productive as opposed to changing a lot of institutional problems. And so I know Jay brought up the change of bylaws. I think that's actually something our office is really going to pursue in the TSR. I have a meeting with the transfer success team this Friday, and so we are going to go with all transfer partners and see where we need to go with the transition, because we also want to make sure that we have so many transfer programs that we're not stepping on each other's toes, and it's unfortunate that no other representative decided to do this, but this is something we're gonna do this year. We're really doing a huge rebuilding year. On top of that, I would also love to work with some of the council members. I know in Wardo, you have a few people who've never been in Usac before. I feel like I have to give that speech a lot of what is Usac, and then we can get into the office, and so it'd be nice if we could at least mainstream this kind of access to information, because it'd be nice for students to be able to log on and have a really good understanding immediately what Usac is, instead of having to go through all of these obstacles to try to find out exactly what each of our offices does, and unless they know someone in each of our offices, it can be kind of confusing specifically what each of us are working on. So we're doing a lot of foundational, like institutional fixing in the transfer student rep's office. And then the last thing is we are also really, I had one of our directors is from the corporate world. And so I put her on one of my platforms, and she's going to work with local Westwood businesses. And like the way the Transfer Student Center is, a lot of the rent is funded by donors. We're gonna try to create a list of donors, so every single year, any other transfer student rep that comes in, funding shouldn't be a concern. So she's gonna have business meetings throughout this year, and we're really hoping that we can self-fund as an office, and so that's a big project, but I think with my experience and my own just job experience, and just a lot of people in my office with job experience, I think this is something we can do.
You brought up a great point, the kind of getting the student body moved in with who the heck USAC is and what we do. Last year in the president's office, we tried to do this to some degree of like having our USAC town hall, where I think it kind of felt through was that we reached out to some council members and not everyone was responsive as much to organizing this, but I don't know if anybody else's office directly deals with kind of how the council president last year tried to do, but I don't know, I feel like that would be really cool, like to have a USAC town hall, if you will, like how it went last year was basically the 14 council members were on stage, they kind of shared what they had been doing, what their visions were, and then the student body had an opportunity to ask questions. So I don't know if that's something that like.
It would be cool. My concern about it is that it literally felt like a debate. It felt like some members of council were like kind of going at each other, and it's just like the only people that really came were people that were already invested in Usac. So if there's a way that we could do like meet and greet or a social media push or something like that, I'd be down to like highlight on our Facebook page a picture of each of us and what we do. That would be cool. And work more with continue to work with news organization and follow about that. But I don't know, like in town hall where like we're all answering questions to us. Bethany?
I think I agree with you. I know Rob earlier mentioned about collaborating with OCHC, I believe the correct acronym. Maybe this will be something for potential collaboration, especially if you're trying to reach students, is maybe having an event that people can like, I want to know more about student government, maybe